Hello everyone, welcome to In and Out with Rubbertainer, a podcast that is specially dedicated to going in, coming out, talking about it all. I want to say a very big thank you to all our viewers. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for comments. We see all the comments. We see all the shares, and some of you are the real MVP. You even turned on your notification button. I want to say a very big thank you to you. You are the real MVP. You are the reason why we are here. That is the exact ginger that we need to give you the exact things that we've promised you. We've promised you that we're going to be talking about sports, we're going to be talking fashion, we're going to be talking family values, we're going to be talking about controversial issues. We're going to talk about everything worth talking about. And you have given us a reason to keep firing down with those your likes, those your comments. Our DMs are filled with various thank you messages, various fantastic messages from you. And I must say, obrigado, nagode, namaste, eshigon. Thank you so very much. And let's keep the fire burning by sharing. Let's keep it burning by liking. Let's keep it burning by commenting. You know, each time I see those comments and those like, it's like you're adding fuel into my car. Yes, it's like you're adding power, electrical power into my electric car. And I must say that I love you with the whole of my heart. Thank you for the support. And on today's edition, which is episode 2, we've brought you something really, really unique. And I must say that this topic that we want to talk about today is something that has existed since time immemorial. Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you point blank. Money or power? Which do you love most? Money or power? Which are you picking if you have the opportunity to pick between these two great elements that controls planet Earth? Which is your pick? Before I proceed, let me just give you a brief talk on these two key long, this fantastic long argument that we've always been having. So they say, for centuries, the battle between money and power has shaped enemies, broken friendships, built legacies. But in today's world, what really matters more? Is it money or is it power? Welcome once again. I am Rubbertainer, Africa's #1 ring announcer, and I'm your host for the award and fast rising podcast In and Out with Rubbertainer. This is our second episode. And I must say a very big thank you for tuning in and watching. Wherever you're watching us from, please drop in the comment section. We'd love to make a shout out to you on our next episode. And thank you once again. Thank you 155.2 billion times for always tuning in. So money or power? These are two great elements that mankind have lived by. Some are thirsty for money. Others keep yearning for power. But at every point in time when there is a clash between money and power, one always goes down for the other. One always supersedes the other. But in most cases, on a scale of 1 to 10, which do we agree supersedes the other? And that is why we're having this controversial conversation today. And I'm sure as you're watching right now, I'm pretty sure you already have your pick in your heart. So let's dive right into it. Let's discuss money. What is money? Money is a legal tender, according to the big grammar that we all know. Every human on earth knows what money is. Money is something you use to buy stuff. It's what you use to pay your bills. It's what you work for. You work to get money, yeah. And generally we can say it's a legal tender that is backed by law, that is generally recognized and accepted by people, blah, 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 blah. And that is money. Money, they say, can give you access. Money, they say, can give you comfort. Money, they also say, I heard it is a rumor, that money gives you option. And finally, they say, I also heard it as a rumor, that money helps you survive. So they say one of the basic tools of survival is money. How true is this? We'll find out shortly. Talking about power on this other side. Power is control. Power is influence. Power is dictating. Power is giving direction. So, which of these two sounds heavier than the other? If we look at it, we can point to people here in Nigeria, Africa, and point to people all over the world that have money. And at the same time, we can point to people that are very powerful, such that they make laws, they make the rules. And guess what? Sometimes, with those laws and rules, they bend the back of money. But at the same time, there are some people that have so much money that what money can buy, more money can buy. So these two major key elements have had different clashes over the years, dating back as so many centuries. If you look at it, they say give what belongs to Caesar to Caesar. And why do people say that? Because Caesar is a powerful person. Caesar has power. He has power. He's one of the most powerful men on earth. If you go way back, you look at those that have been kings in different kingdoms, those that have been rulers in different countries, you discover that the power they have is so much that people can't look them in the eye. But over time, power also have its disadvantages. We'll get there shortly. So, to set the tone of this fantastic argument, let me paint a picture and ask you a question. Someone have $100 million sitting pretty in his bank account, and someone have the power to switch off the internet that connects you to your bank. Who is leading? Someone that can switch off your internet. You know you can have money and you're already somewhere trying to buy something, and then this person decides to switch off his internet. It happens to you. It happens to people. Because some of these industries are ruled by gatekeepers. And those gatekeepers have power to decide who to use their service and who will not use their services. But at the same time, those powerful people have been surrounded by people that are their loyalists. And their loyalists also they are around those that have power based on some of them are just scared. They just needed to be covered under the umbrella of that person. So it's not like they are that loyal. And some of them, they aspire to be as powerful as that person. But when you have money, you can actually buy out every loyal person to a powerful man. But does it mean that there are people on this earth that money cannot buy? Do they exist? I think in some aspect, I will tilt a little bit towards money. Because with money, you have access. With money, you have growth. With money, you can buy luxury. With money, you can solve problems immediately. I have to use that voice. Because with money, you can solve problems immediately. Problems that might take years to solve. Provided it is human that is at the end of that affair, every human have a price. And it's just for you to be able to get the price of that person. If you have the money to pay for that price, I believe the person will rat whoever is in power out. But at the same time, whoever is in power can cripple your money. Let me give you a typical example. Imagine someone like me that like fast cars. I love fast cars. Imagine me getting a V12 engine with about 750 horsepower. That car is not supposed to be moving on a slow pace at all. And then maybe I decide to go and build myself a very wide airport kind of road, big road, because I have money. Maybe I decide to break the internet the day I bring the car into the country, and the social media is all buzzing and people are talking about the car, they're talking about the engine size, they're talking about the tires, they're talking about how powerful that car can fly. And then the decision makers of that state decided to be petty and they decided to pen down or bring down the kilometer per hour. They bring out a law and say, oh, in this country, you can't run beyond 40 kilometers per hour. The reason why I bought that car has been jeopardized. So power is leading me in that aspect. So what will I say to these two major key elements that we have? But let's proceed with this. We have seen cases where money has won over power. And we have also seen cases where power have won over money. Let me paint another picture. Imagine if I am so wealthy that I decided to own the media. I want to own the media. I want to own the narrative. And I decided to open a TV house, a radio house. I decided to open all of that, operating in a particular state. You know that the moment I talk against any of the government of that state, they can come up with a law. They can take away my license. And that is what power can do, because they are the rulers. They are the gatekeepers. With power, you are more like the person that is piloting the plane to its destination with power. With money, you look like someone that boards a plane and sits in the business class. Obviously, you pay so heavy to sit in that position. But the pilots can still decide that the location that was placed on the map, the location that was sold to you, that you want to leave from Lagos and get to Bahamas in less than 5 hours, the pilot can decide to take that plane on a journey down to maybe Australia. He can even decide to stay up there for like 10 hours. Because why? He has the power. You only have the money to get into the plane, sit in the business class. In fact, you have the money to hire the own plane. You have the power to chase out everybody in the aeroplane. But guess what? The pilots have the power to decide where to land. So if you have the money to charter a whole private jet, unless you are the one flying that plane, that is when you are safe. So in my own aspect, I would humbly advise that when you begin to unearth a whole lot of wealth, when it gets to a point and you have that wealth so much, I will advise you go seek for power. We have seen it happen. I don't want to mention the example of people so they won't start thinking and pointing at political people. But we have seen it happen that some people gathered wealth so much that the next thing they're looking for is power, because power guarantees protection. Because without power, when you gather up as much wealth as possible, when you get to a point, someone with power can bring out a policy and they will suck your cash dry. It's possible. They can bring out policies that will cripple the economy of your money. Policies that will cause inflation, policies that will cause recession. And these two wicked economic issues, they eat up money so fast, because the value of your money will not be able to get what it's supposed to get on a normal day. So you begin to buy things times 5 depending on the percentage of the inflation. You begin to buy things at a very, very high rate. So for me, if you have power, or if you have money rather, to some large extent, I would advise you go seek for power so you can protect the empire that you have built, the wealth that you have gathered. You can protect it very well. But saying this, let me now flip it back to power without money. Now we've checked out money without power. Money without power, you can be a victim of policies that will throw you back into the bottomless pit of poverty. But now, someone that has power but doesn't have money, what could be the outcome of that? It's pretty much simple. A powerful person surrounds him or herself with loyalists. They surround themselves with loyalists, people that are around them because they adore them, people that are around them because they are scared, people that are around them because they need their name to also protect themselves, right? But irrespective, every loyalist around a powerful person have his or her own motive. So if someone that has money comes and find out the motive of all the loyalists of a powerful person that doesn't have money, chances are he will buy out all his loyalists. And if he can buy out all his loyalists, the powerful man becomes isolated. And in the animal kingdom, when the lion wants to attack an antelope, first he looks for the weakest. Then they come up with the tactics to seclude it from the herd rather. And once it's secluded, once it's singled out, it becomes very powerless. We have seen videos where lion attack buffaloes, but the moment they take out a buffalo, they are able to separate one out of the plenty or out of the numerous buffaloes that are there, is as good as dead. The only time that he can survive is if he makes a call out to his mates out there. And mind you, in this explanation that I'm giving, all his body that are in the field, he is isolated and the lion is trying to eat him up. All the body have been bought by lions. So no matter the noise he makes, it will become easy meal for the lion to eat. So invariably, what I'm saying is this: someone that has power without money is a weakling, because all your loyalists can be bought. Every one of them can be bought. And once all your loyalists are out, you become very vulnerable to any attack. But are there people that exist on planet Earth that cannot be bought with money? Well, if you have one, point to me, or rather mention his name in the comment section. But I would like to give an example of someone that I feel was able to stand on his ground. That is the late Fela Anikulapo Kuti, who uses his music as a means of communicating his message. He's always against bad policies by government. He became so influential that people started using his song for protest. All of his songs have messages with name tags of politicians that he is busy dragging. So Fela can be said to be a very powerful man. And I want to also let you know that at some point, when the politicians discovered that Fela's power was going so much, some of them must have tried to buy him in. Yes, because that is the way politicians think. They always believe that what money can buy, more money will buy. So to some large extent, if you look at the lifestyle of Fela, you discover that Fela was able to use, the late Fela Anikulapo Kuti was able to use his music as a strong tool to gain power. And those politicians now needed his power, but he wasn't giving them that. So I can boldly say people like Fela Anikulapo Kuti are one of those that you cannot buy with money. The late Nelson Mandela, the late Thomas Sankara, these are people that influenced. These are people that they try to buy in, but they were unable to buy them in. So I believe there are so many other people out there that cannot be bought with money, but you can also mention names in the comment section. So invariably, if you have power and you don't have money, go and seek for money. If you have money and you don't have power, go and seek for power, because these two are like inseparable elements. The moment you separate them, one begin to nosedive and one begin to elevate. That is why I use the illustration of a pilot. A pilot and a big businessman who bought business. Let's say the man booked a private jet to take him from one location, from Lagos to London. He booked a private jet. Now, it's okay to book a private jet, but you don't have the power to fly that jet, because you don't have the knowledge, you don't have the skill set, you don't have the license, you don't even know how to. So all you have is money. So you are able to pay for the service of the pilot. The pilot can still decide to take you, instead of taking you to Lagos, he can take you to to Abuja. All you can do, you can sue him afterward, but he have just shown you what power can do. So if you have money, go after power. If you have power, go after money. But before we go, we have some fantastic fans that have dropped their opinion. And I will be reading our fans' opinion to you on this great topic, money or power. So let's go. Moyosore from Lagos State said, money answereth all things. Meaning that with money, I can still buy power. I tilt to your side a little. Now let's look at what Binta said. Binta said, wow, this is very, very elaborate. Binta said, power. I choose power because it can create money, it can control money, it transforms life, it protects you, it gives you a voice. It's an influence. Power is leadership. Money without power can make you a target to the enemies. I said that earlier. Power can speak and be heard, but money without power makes you voiceless. Lastly, influence outlives wealth. See, today we still talk about the influence of the late fella Anikula Kukuti. That is what power can do. So Binta, thumbs up to you. Idauza says, if you have money and you don't have power, you can have money rather. I say you can have money and not have power. But if you have power, you will control money. So Idauza is tilting towards power. Wurala says, it depends on values and goals. You can choose money for flexibility, freedom, and independence. While you can also choose power for influence, legacy, and control. I personally choose power she said, choose power if you want to lead, influence, or change the world. Choose money if you value autonomy, flexibility, and personal freedom. So the two works hand in hand. So she's not tilting to anyone. She prefers both. BC says money because if you have money, you have power, you have everything. Tosin says money. I choose money because it will give me power and I can also use it to buy power. Money. Bode says money is devil syndrome. Give me money, Biko. Shegun also says power without money sometimes is an error. So you go with money. Give me money, let me spend it all. Although power can actually block money for some things, but if you don't have issues with anyone, you are free to spend your money for life. That I will not sit. That doesn't sit down well with me because I know that once you're living life, there is no how your path will cross with people that don't like you. Even before you were formed in your mother's womb, there are people that don't already like you before you come. So no matter what you say, you will step on toes. So it is preferred that once you have money, go seek for power. When you have power, power will automatically attract money. But in a position where power is not attracting that money, I would humbly advise you go after the money. You have to bring money closer to you because with money, they can buy out all your loyalists. So in life, if you're chasing money, remember that you also need power. And if you're chasing power, remember that you also need money. These two key elements work hand in hand. And one cannot do without the other. The other cannot do without the other. It's just like they cannot get divorced. You have to learn to have the two to be up and running as humans. And on this note, ladies and gentlemen, I would love to ask you once again, money or power? What do you think? Please drop all your comments in the comment section. You can start commenting, you can share to your loved ones, you can share on every group that you know because this issue will continue it on our social media platforms. So please make sure that you like, you comment, you share. Make sure you are subscribed and also turn on your notification button so that anytime we pop up, you will be the first to load up. Rhymes. Anytime we pop up, you'll be the first to load up. Rhymes. So please turn on your notification. In and Out with Rubbertainer, don't forget, is the fastest rising podcast in West Africa. And you are the reason why we are here. We're signing out now until we meet again next week, Wednesday, 6 p.m. West African time. Stay tuned, baby. We love you. Rubbertainer signing out.